And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon. Today I am talking with Dominic Forth. Dominic, thank you for taking some time to be with me today.
Yeah, it's great to be here, Michael.
It is going to be such a fun conversation, so hang on, folks. Dominic is the CEO of Thought Leaders America, and what they do is they work with entrepreneurs and experts and real thought leaders, right, to get you featured on major media to build your credibility, your authority, to impact your community with your message, and they guarantee that it's going to happen or it's free. One of the rare companies like us who actually guarantee what they're going to do. Because as you know, well, Dominic, we've talked about it before that so many entrepreneurs have gotten burned by companies who promise the world and don't deliver. And fortunately, you're not one of those companies because you guys are true to what you do and you really do a phenomenal job. So tell me, as we get into this whole conversation, Dominic, tell me, how in the world did you get doing what you're doing today?
Yeah, so it was a journey really over the past 10 years, I would say. I've been in media over 20 years,
Okay.
but I was actually on my honeymoon. And for our honeymoon, we went down to South Africa. And as part of that trip, we're on safari, and you can imagine just beautiful sunsets, wild
Yeah.
animals we'd never seen in person before. And at the end of the trip, we traveled over the border to a point where both Zimbabwe, South Africa, and Zambia all meet.
Hmm.
And you've got these incredible views of just the scenery and everything else, and these waterfalls that have really been carved by the Zambezi River.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason I describe the Zambezi River is I was in a really tragic rafting accident where the raft actually flipped
Oh, wow.
and I got trapped under the raft. Yeah, and so
Wow.
I went to resurface, and at first it was like, "Oh, I'm in the water, I'll be fine." But then I got stuck, so I went to resurface once, and I was underneath, and the whole river is you're barreling down. I mean, it's
Sure.
so loud. You think of the thunderous water around you, but I was calm, and I thought, I just got to resurface, so I swam, and I didn't realize I was swimming with the raft, not against the raft. So now I went to resurface a second time, and I hit the raft again. And that's where I was like, oh boy, I'm
Panic.
I'm stuck. In trouble here. And so I had to fight like crazy, swam the complete opposite direction, which logic made sense. And I managed to eventually kind of break free, get on away from under the raft, and I resurfaced. And it was incredible because it was so loud under the water. But the second I resurfaced, it was almost like everything was silent. And what's crazy is my whole life, I always thought a near-death experience, you'd be trapped in the mountains in an avalanche for, 2 weeks and you had to forage for food.
Right.
I always thought survival would be endurance.
Right.
But this moment, it was literally in the space of maybe 2.5 minutes. And I just realized how fragile life is. But
Hmm.
the biggest takeaway, and this is what led me on this journey, was I thought, oh my goodness, imagine if I hadn't made it out. Imagine all the stories and all the
Yes.
life and experience and everything else, all of that would have gone underwater with me.
Yes.
And so it set me on this journey where I realized, oh my goodness, like it's not just my story, but everyone around us has their own story to tell.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so that's what led to on this journey in media, and um, I decided to really be a big part of Thought Leaders America's growth because what
Hmm.
Thought Leaders America does is it helps people tell their stories and transform people's lives through those stories.
Wow. That's so cool. I love that because stories, we create books for experts and things, and I always tell them stories carry the day in your book. And when somebody reads your book, it's going to be less about the tax code or the investment philosophy. It's going to be more about who you are and the stories of those you've helped. And it's very much like going to a movie. It's a story. And so what you get to do is help people tell their story on larger platforms, should we say, in the media. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. And it's not just having an incredible story. That was something I learned very quickly. It's about having the right framework to tell that story. And so
Yes.
we're very heavily invested in helping people really restructure what they're trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a great example.
Please share it.
Yeah, I was chatting to an author recently where she's been through a lot of trauma growing up. In fact, she describes it as just ugliness and just all.
Hmm.
She mentioned some of the things that happened to her in high school and then after high school. But to tell that story is quite challenging because people don't always like to be challenged with things that honestly it's easier to look the other way or brush under the carpet.
Yes.
But for her, what happened was there was a moment where she was actually riding on the back of a motorcycle and she was hit by they think it was a drunk driver that hit the car, that hit the bike. Her and the driver both had to go to hospital, in the hospital for months. It changed the course of her life because for her, she then went and really found religion and
Hmm.
deep spirituality and transformed her life. So to tell that story, I've told it in a sort of linear way,
Right.
from start to finish. But what really hooks people is almost like a movie with a first act, second act, third act. You know how
Yes.
you got plot points?
Oh, yes.
For her, the plot point is the accident. You
Yes.
really start there, then you go backwards for the second act, and then for the third act, then you go into the resolution
Yes.
of the transformation.
Yes.
Yep.
100%. That's
So
how every great movie starts, right? It's like, why am I here and what's going on? And then they pull back and they go, oh, I got it, right?
yeah,
But being able to frame that story makes all the difference in the world because
yeah,
you have to be able to capture the attention of your audience. And in today's world, as you know, there's just a lot of noise everywhere, and it's challenging to cut through all of that clutter and grab them with something that causes them to take notice and to lean in to go, tell me more. Do you find
yeah,
that?
yeah. And with the current sort of algorithms and ecosystem, I would say clicks are quite cheap, really. But
Mm,
building trust and credibility, that's priceless. How do you do it though? That's the question.
yes,
Because you've got people that they're chasing the latest craze or latest fad. They might be getting views,
yes,
but at the end of the day, when someone's making a purchasing decision or looking for advice, looking for someone with status and credibility, how do you rein those people in and how do you do it authentically? I think that's another
yes,
key component.
it is. And authentically and dare I say differently, okay? Because there are so many people um, who are selling strategies, tactics that they've all graduated from the same course, right? And so all the entrepreneurs are buying all of this stuff and they're all doing the same thing, which puts you in a sea of sameness. I tell my clients as I look at websites, everybody sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher. You know, wah, 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 wah. There's nothing unique, compelling. There's nothing that makes me want to trust you over the next person. But when I see somebody who has an Amazon best-selling book or somebody who's on trusted media channels, who's on podcast and radio, who has a consistent, clear message that connects with me, it changes the game. It,
Yeah, it really does. And I was chatting to a really well-known international speaker yesterday, and we were describing how he got started, and he was sharing with me that he's done the courses, he had the templated emails, he had this whole system that he paid into, and yet none of it works. And he was kind of laughing. He's like, he described it in detail, and I was waiting for the punchline. And it's like, and none of it works.
yes,
And so I asked him, well, what was the biggest learning? He said, you know what it is? And this is so simple. It's really just down to relationships.
100%.
That's all it is. And he said,
That's all
once
it is.
I started going to different networking groups and met people who introduced me to more people, that was how I got started. And then this is quite nice of him. Then he said, but I wish I'd met you back then because you could have just got me to the front of the line.
Yes, yeah, very much so. And that describes, I think, the challenge, the battle that entrepreneurs are on at any business, whether you're a startup or whether you've been in business for over a decade. It doesn't matter. You're always trying to build those relationships, those connections. And sometimes there's a fast way to do it, right?
Yeah,
And you've
yeah.
got that. So unpack a little bit more of kind of what thought leaders America, how do you help entrepreneurs and experts and thought leaders? What is it that you all are doing?
Yeah, so I've worked in media over 20 years and I've worked for multiple TV stations coast to coast. At one point, I was consulting for almost 40 TV stations around the country. and really just didn't realize at the time just how valuable those relationships were.
Yes.
But within those relationships on our team at Thought Leaders America, we have people, without aging people too much, 35, 40 years experience in media.
Yeah.
So imagine having that as a multiplier where you have a vast network of relationships where somebody knows somebody who knows somebody who can
Yes.
get you connected fast. And so the two things I like to say is you can do it by yourself and you reach out to these people. Will you get a response? Maybe, but maybe
Yeah.
not. But this will accelerate getting that response, save you hours and hours of time and experimenting and testing different email subject lines and other
Yeah.
things. But the other piece is, what do you say when you get to the interview?
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
That's yeah, because it's so challenging because you can get inside your own head very quickly.
Yeah.
And so having someone that's walked the walk who can help you, things like breathing exercises before the session, helping
Hmm.
you have clarity with your message, helping you with courage. You know,
Yes.
courage to you can do this, your message is valuable, it has to be heard.
Yes. Very much so. Because well, and it's a lot like well, all of business. It's I one of my marketing philosophies is consistency over time. Okay.
Yep.
And when somebody is going on a media channel, let's say they're on the ABC News affiliate or whatever in their market, it's a big deal, but you've got to be thinking longer term, I think. And I love your feedback here because what you really want is to hit a home run there so that they will start seeing you as a trusted source and they would invite you back on at different times. And that continues to build your authority, your credibility, because you've got a long-term view and you're there to serve their audience.
Yes, absolutely. People underestimate the value of local news. You'd be amazed how many people say, I only want to be on national. I want to be on
Yeah.
Good Morning America.
Yep.
Local news is so effective. You have great journalists doing great
Hmm.
work. And like you say, that exposure is a very loyal
Yes.
audience and they'll invite you back. You know, you do need the refinements and the coaching, but they will
Yeah.
invite you back. And a very just two very simple examples that I would
Hmm.
for
Oh,
the
please.
yeah. So one is speak like you speak conversationally and speak as if you're talking to a smart fifth grader. And
Okay.
so we do this a lot with technical topics like cybersecurity, healthcare. You might be used to having these very technical speeches to your peers,
Yes.
but on TV, you've got to simplify it down so it's so simple that honestly, that fifth grade level of
Yes.
comprehension,
Yes.
that's the first. And then the second really is just be mindful of the things like hand movements. I'm breaking my own rules here. I'm using my hands a lot. But if you talk a lot with your hands, you don't lean in with, you know, because it can look like these hands are coming through the screen and things like
Yes.
that. So,
Yes.
um,
Which is amazing because I speak with my hands. Okay. I tell people all the time, if you cut my arms off, I'm going mute because I'm very demonstrative as I talk. So that would be a great tip for me as I get on TV is to know, Michael, you need to really control your hand motions. Not that I can't use them, but I need to control them and also understand the framing, the um, dare I say the soundbite, but making sure my answers are concise and clear
yep,
because they don't want you to go on for 8 minutes.
yes, yep. We've created a tool called Sound Bite where you can put in, and it can be a very academic speech. It can just be a data dump of just or brain dump, you know, what you want
Right?
to say. It will condense it into 10 potential sound bites, and it will give you a grade
Wow.
of how
That's
effective each
awesome.
one is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then you can reverse engineer the soundbite. So you find a really good soundbite. Well, how do I then elaborate that into a larger point? So you can reverse engineer through it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it's very simple. It's
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
very just you click and you know, so
yeah. Well, the sim I love you said it's very simple. The other thing that's very simple is getting on media when somebody works with Thought Leaders America because you've taken the complexity out of it because of the relationships that you and your team have with media across the nation. Because that there, if there is a secret to getting on media, that's probably it. Is it's not what you know as much as who you know, and the process to get there. and to make sure that when you get there, you're showing up as a credible authority.
Absolutely. And we're very lucky because we work with great journalists who they tell us exactly what they're looking for, which
Hmm.
then helps us with our coaching with our clients to say,
Yes.
hey, this is what they're looking for. And that's where the magic happens because it's a win for everybody. You
Yes.
know, we have journalists, they're very deadline driven and they have a story that breaks. They need someone they can trust who they know has the right amount of coaching, who will perform, who will show up, because that's
Yes.
another thing. And yeah, just connecting them with our clients. Our clients are prepped, they're confident, they deliver,
Hmm.
and it's a win for everybody. So that's what we really do pride ourselves on, is helping people tell their stories, and in a way to serve the greater community, greater
Yes.
audience. It's a
Yeah.
win for everyone. Yeah.
Well, it really is. And you take so much out of the picture for the entrepreneur because you're yeah, they don't have to try to write the email pitches to try to maybe, hey, you should have me on. You help with all of that. You make the connections relationally. You have the framework. Okay, let's hear your story. Yeah, let's restructure this. Let's practice, right? We want to hear what you're going to say. Yeah, it needs to be shorter. You're going to coach your client so that when that moment comes, they're going to be as prepared as possible, even with breathing exercises. Who would have thought? But when you go on when you get interviewed anywhere, when I go speak anywhere, I have butterflies in my stomach. I still do. It's okay. Somebody told me years ago, it's okay to have butterflies. You just need to teach them to fly in formation.
I love
And
it.
and so that's what breathing exercises do.
Yeah.
But you and
Yeah.
your team help with all of that, right?
Oh, yeah. And it can be as simple as a Vicks throat drop. you
Yes.
know, um, that works really well for me personally. I have another client that I've got doing it now where you just have that just backstage. Suddenly you can breathe because that's
Yeah.
huge for oxygen. And then that gives the clarity of the message as well.
Yes.
But everything we do is customized as well because some people might have challenge with nerves or with breathing exercises. Others might have just very brilliant but yet abstract ideas. And how do you crystallize that to a headline that's just going to really pop when they say it on air?
Yes.
And so when they've finished, the producers immediately like, "Hey, can we have them back? That was awesome."
Boom. And yes, and that's what you want because now you've served that media channel, you've served their audience. They want you back. And the credibility that is built when you're on media on even I mean, a consistent basis, whatever that is, once a month, once a week, whatever, people in the community see you and then they see that maybe you have a podcast as well, or maybe they've heard you on somebody's podcast, or they see you speaking in the community. They get a copy of your book, and pretty soon you are in a different. You're in a category of one. You're in a category that nobody else in your industry, whether you're an attorney, a speaker, a financial advisor, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's all doable because of Dominic, what you and your team have kind of put together this turnkey, done for you process that's at the same time highly relational with your team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so glad you used the phrase category of one because that's our aspiration with our clients because
Mm-hmm.
we know how busy entrepreneurs are and business leaders. They have a whole business to run. And so
Yeah.
let us do the heavy lifting. Let us help you hone in on what is that one thing that you want to be known for. So it becomes almost synonymous with when they hear your name, they think of that tagline or that book title,
Yes.
whatever it is. And for some of our clients, they don't know what that is yet. And
Right.
we go on that journey with them. We've worked with startups that have been pre-funding, and because we believe in their mission, we've obtained the media to
Yes.
then help them get that first round of funding, which then becomes a win for everybody because then we can get them more media and then they grow further and get more funding. So we're really invested in that. And the category of one is so important
Yes.
because I think a lot of people often promote what they do, whether they're
Mm-hmm.
service-based business or what the product or service is, but they don't always promote who they are or that backstory.
Yes.
And people like to buy from people. And so, yeah, I mean, typically,
Dominic, I love you, man. No, you're preaching the same thing I preach. So here's the phrase I use. It's my number one marketing philosophy. People buy who you are, more than what you do. You just said that. And when people understand, when they hear your story, what who you are, how you got here, and how you can help them, and the credibility that comes from being on media when somebody else is interviewing you as the expert. Okay, today we are talking with Dominic Forth about the importance of being credible. And Dominic, I mean, everybody knows you're the expert. How does that translate into business growth when you do it properly, right?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing that I've seen the biggest trend is so public relations and marketing used to be quite separate. But I
Yes,
think that the challenges of the economy and the reality of the landscape we're in means that public relations almost has to generate an ROI. I mean, I have
yes,
those conversations, even though they are very different avenues. So, what we've built is a system where you can really take media and monetize it. And by that, what it is it's taking very high credible TV appearances. You know, we've had clients on Fox and Friends in the morning. We've had clients at the New York Stock Exchange get interviewed, but taking those clips and then leveraging them in traditional marketing funnels.
yes,
And so now you've got the best of both worlds. You've got really high credibility at top of the funnel. You're leveraging, digital marketing platforms. And from there, you then basically people going through the funnel, they trust you, and you can measure the conversion rate from something that was
yes.
traditionally public relations is now actually working as one of your greatest marketing assets.
Yes, absolutely. And it all comes back to what you said earlier is helping your clients build trust with their audience.
Yeah.
And in the clients that we work with, the trust is such a big deal. And I tell clients all the time, trust is a factor of time. It's the
Yes.
time people spend with you, whether that's watching you on media, being on social media, reading your book, on your website. It's the time that they're spending with you bolsters and builds that trust to say, I not only like you, I want to talk with you and let you help me solve whatever problem I have.
Yeah, we're seeing research now. It's about 8 to 10 hours on average that consumers are spending with brands before making a purchasing decision.
Yes.
I mean, that's sort of the threshold. And we had a fairly new client recently where he's just finished his sixth appearance, and he had a client come forward, or a customer, and that one sale paid for his entire campaign. But
Without question.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it did take 5 or 6 appearances, and by the sixth one, that's where the threshold has been
Yes.
passed.
Yes.
So this isn't a one and done, really. It's really it can. There's two ways to approach it. I think doing a series of interviews is good,
Hmm. Hmm.
but consistency is the ultimate way to be successful, I feel
Yes.
like.
Consistency over time, right? It's one of my
Yes.
marketing philosophies and principles, and it works because with that consistency, you cut through the clutter because they're like, didn't I see that guy like last week? Didn't I see that guy before? Oh, maybe I should listen to this guy. Oh, and it's because you breed consistency breeds familiarity, which breeds trust. And we live in a culture of very low trust, and we need to know how to build it. And there are proven ways to build it. And what I have found, Dominic, and I think you would agree, is trust is built through traditional media channels much deeper and usually much faster than new media. So that's books, magazines, TV, radio, these are traditional media that just trust is built into that automatically. Is that fair?
I agree 100%. And it can be a two-pronged approach where you can use some of the newer methods for speed and for volume. So you can get a lot of video out fast on
Yes.
social media. But taking the time to produce a bestseller, to write a bestseller, to be interviewed on podcasts, on the radio, on TV, magazines, as you mentioned. I mean, they really are the foundations of
Yeah.
trust.
Absolutely. And that's part of what you help your clients do. And
Yeah.
right? It
And
is you've got a machine built that
yeah.
you can help experts, business owners, entrepreneurs, thought leaders go from where they are and amplify their credibility, their authority, their message, however they're wanting to make it happen. You've got the pieces, the parts and everything because you've built this amazing machine, right?
Yeah, well, and one thing that I might be giving away some of the secret sauce here, but what we'll do at the beginning of a campaign is we'll commission a data journalism study for our clients as well.
Uh-huh.
And so by that, we just wrapped up a study actually where we surveyed 1,000 Americans on healthcare for our healthcare clients. And once you get that data back, that really does put you in a category of one because now we're not only uh, recommending people to be on the news, but we're creating the news with the results of the study. And our client is then the expert
Yes.
commenting on those data insights that we get back. So
I
it's,
love that.
yep. And then we use the soundbite tool to help
Yeah.
them finesse how what the sound bites are going to be, talking about the data. And it's a really powerful combination.
This is so cool. And you got the team that helps create it, helps guide the entrepreneur, the thought leader through the whole process. And you can help them choose the right media, the right all of that, right? That's just it's all baked into what you've done here, and you understand the consistency over time that this is not some purple pill that you're going to take and tomorrow you're the next whatever. This is a business growth strategy at the
Yeah,
end of the day,
yeah,
right?
yeah. We'll create typically 1 to 3 key content themes that we want
Yeah,
to focus on.
yeah,
For some people, they just need to be known for one thing.
yes,
That's simple. But for some products founders, it is more complex. So we'll build out these whole content pillars that we focus and execute
hmm,
on.
yeah.
And it's great. And then we're there all the way through. So for the
Yeah.
coaching, sometimes you might have an imposter syndrome right before a big appearance.
Oh, yes.
We help coach through that because that's something where you want someone in your corner
Yeah,
who can have you not just happy at the level that you're at, but really pushing for the next big thing and then getting
yeah.
you to that level above that and then just to keep growing.
I think it's great. What you're doing is quite amazing in the way you've put it all together and to help craft that message that's great, the story that needs to be told, and then how are we going to tell it so it's compelling? How are we going to make sure you show up confident, clear, compelling, authoritative. And when you do it consistently with a campaign, I love that you said that, it's going to work. It's going to produce results, ROI. It's going to make a bigger impact. And it's you're going to get invited to other stages. You're going to have prospects, like you said, come out of the woodwork to go, hey, I've seen you, I've researched you. Now I'm ready to work with you. It shortens the sales cycle.
It really does. Hey, I heard you on X show. Let's talk.
Yes.
And in 3 ways, podcast hosts reach out to you, magazine writers reach out to you, and new customers and clients reach out to you.
Yes.
It's
And
amazing.
it really is. And the threshold of getting on media is so much higher than the threshold of posting on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good point because since COVID, so many journalists have left the industry, especially new TV newsrooms, and there's been a lot of consolidation. And so it is really hard for journalists these days in the newsroom because they're being asked to do more things to cover more positions. They don't have time to go and find new voices or new opinions. It's really challenging for them just because of the constraints of the job. And so that's where having a coach like us come in and advocate for you, that's where that really helps because they know the journalists know they can trust us. They know we've
Yes.
vetted and coached. And that way you get yourself to the front of the line so your voice and story gets heard.
Yes. I love that. Okay, Dominic, I think you and I could probably talk for the next hour because
Yeah.
this is so just right in line with how we think and believe. How does somebody find out more about you and about Thought Leaders America? Where would they go if they have if we've scratched that itch and they're like, okay, this is intriguing. This sounds too good to be true. I want to find out more and spend 3 or 4 hours researching you before they, call you and say, I'm ready to work with you. Where would they go? What's the best next step for somebody?
Yeah, well, and you work with so many talented authors with so many amazing stories, and so we'd love to connect and really help put people on a bigger stage. So the best way is thoughtleadersamerica.com. That's the best way to reach us. If you want to reach out to me personally as well, I would love to hear your story and see how I can help. And easiest way for me is LinkedIn. So just
Excellent.
Dominic Forth on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And yeah, happy to help in any way I can, and just really just help people tell their stories, and then ultimately just transform people's lives, because
Yes.
that's the power of storytelling.
It really is. And you've developed a great process to help people with that. Everybody has a story to tell. They're just not telling it well. And that's what we help people do. That's what you help people do. That's why this is such a great match. And we're going to grab that information, thoughtleadersamerica.com, and Dominic Forth on LinkedIn. And we're going to put that in the show notes so that people can reach out, because I really encourage my audience to check this out. And I think the other thing I really want to say is, you've brought all of this high credibility, visibility media into one place. So you don't have to go one place for PR and one place for podcasts and one place for, and you've brought it all under one area at thoughtleadersamerica.com. And I think that's brilliant, because it saves time, it gives greater leverage, and it helps your clients build trust and amplify their credibility so much faster.
Yeah, well, and our members are phenomenal as well. So we're also connecting people. We have startups that are seeking funding. We'll connect them to investors in our network.
Yeah.
We'll have people writing books that are looking for other viewpoints. Or so it's a great way to connect with other people on the similar journey to you. And that's what we love. Our connections are your connections. And so we love just to connect people. There's so much abundance in the world, and let's just give and help other people grow.
Absolutely. Well, I love it. You've given tremendously here today, Dominic. Thank you. Help me grow, help my audience grow. So I appreciate the way you show up, and the freedom in which you share your stories, and how you help people. So thank you for being my guest.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on, Michael. I've really enjoyed the conversation today.
You are welcome. Thanks everybody for listening to Experts Speak. Tune in again for another great episode. Take care. God bless.